we will start today's session, which is how to navigate your Zoom account. And with that being said, we'll get started. So the first thing we'll go over is the background information. And just as a short intro, what is Zoom? So as many of you folks know, Zoom is a video conference program, which is used to hold virtual meetings like we are today. But you could also use Zoom in a various ways, like on your smartphone, on your tablet, on your laptop, on your desktop computer, or any sort of technology that allows you to access the application. And then Zoom allows you to virtually meet with individuals in live time, and also have some sort of like seminar where individuals are able to unmute themselves, ask questions, and everyone in the group would be able to hear that. And one good key point about Zoom itself is that you don't need to necessarily have an account to join meetings as a participant, but a Zoom account is required if you want to host a meeting or if you want to send an invitation to other participants. So let's say you have your Zoom meeting, you could send that to a family friend or your neighbor who you want to use Zoom to meet them virtually, and they don't have to download the application or make an account either. And this is just their confidentiality statement that they provide to all users of Zoom. So Zoom employees do not access meetings, webinars, or messaging content, specifically audio, videos, files, and messages. Zoom uses advanced tools to automatically scan content such as virtual backgrounds, profile images, and files uploaded or exchanged through chat for the purpose of detecting and preventing violations of their terms or policies and illegal or other harmful activity. So within the statement, it just reinforces that your content and your messages or anything that you do through Zoom, whether it being in a business setting or more of a familiar setting with like family members or friends, is going to be confidential, and the firm itself does not have access to those files. And the technology they use, like with the background, as you folks can see, Herman is using, is just set up automatically. And then here we have a few of the packages for Zoom video conference plans and pricing. So as we previously mentioned, a lot of the folks have like the free basic version, which includes having meetings up to 100 participants and also having groups and with as many individuals as you want, but only for 40 minutes. So the restriction with this package is that it does have like a time restriction where you're only able to meet for 40 minutes. But you do have unlimited one-on-one meeting times with other individuals. But for most businesses and institutions, you won't have the free package. From my experience where I've worked at my job and also here at Berkeley, for institutions and small businesses or large corporations, they allow you to have as much time as you want. So you do not have the time restriction. And then with the other packages, such as like the Pro package, it's about $150 per year. The added benefit of having this package is that you are able to increase the meeting size of your room, as well as having the capacity to stream on social media platforms. So let's say your small business or the organization you're part of has members that aren't going to be there in like the same room physically. You could also live stream the Zoom meeting for individuals to see it in any part of the world. And they'll also have the opportunity to like ask questions like we are today, like where they're able to unmute themselves and the rest of the room would also be able to hear that as well. And then with the business package, which is a bit more expensive, but the price is less relative to the other ones, like in proportions. This one allows individuals to record transcripts and have sign-ons from every individual in the business with their own account. And they're also able to have it internally within the business. So what that means is that if me and Herman are part of the same business, I could just send him a quick call through Zoom and he should be able to access that readily right after. And then the last package, which is the largest package, is the large enterprise ready package, which is $240 a year for 500 participants, and includes all of the other amenities and the other packages because it is the biggest package of all. And that is usually for large corporations that have over 500 employees. And there's also add-ons that you could have if your business needs it as well. So that's a bit of the background information on Zoom and a little bit about the application itself and the necessary steps you need to have to sign up for Zoom and any confidentiality that you might have. We'll be moving forward to the navigating your own Zoom account and how to access it as well. Within our presentation today, we will go over how to set up a profile picture once you have the Zoom application, how to start a new meeting, how to join a meeting, and then lastly, how to schedule a meeting through the Zoom application so you're able to share the link and your own meeting room with family and friends. So here we have the Zoom application, and we'll be going over how to set up a profile picture. So the first step for managing Zoom and knowing how to do any edits or any technical issues with the application is to first and foremost launch it. So if you're joining through like a Apple product, which is usually an iPad, an iPhone, or like a Mac computer, you'll see the icon on the left, which is the Zoom icon. Whereas if you are joining the meeting today from an Android application, such as like an HP laptop, a Kindle notebook, or a Microsoft 360 like tablet, you'll be seeing more of the icon on the right side just because of two different technological backgrounds. But those are the two icons that you should be looking for when you do start the application. So once you begin the application, this is the home screen of Zoom itself. And you can see that we have a lot of options, and it is a bit strenuous on the eyes when you first see it. So you have like creating a new meeting, scheduling a meeting, or even sharing your screen. But today we will be focusing on more of the profile picture aspect of it. So on the right side of the homepage, it will usually have your initials. So for the modules we have today, tomorrow, and Sunday, we used Oski Bear as our example throughout the presentations. So we see that we have his initials, OB, for Oski Bear. You would want to click on those. And then if we look towards the bottom, it says change my picture. You will then click on that, and the Zoom web portal will launch you in your internet browser. So as a heads up, if you do wish to change your profile picture, you will need to have access to the internet. So it's stored in their web services, and it also is able to connect to your other Zoom applications. So once you click on change my picture, you'll be sent to the Zoom web portal on any browser, such as like Mozilla Firefox, Google Chrome, Safari, or Internet Explorer. And once you are on the Zoom web portal, it will instruct you to log in and view your profile. So when you get to the step, you're going to have to put like your email address and your password that is specific to your Zoom account. And you also have the options to sign up with SSO, Google, and Facebook. So Zoom gives you the choice to sign up with your Google account, which would just be a quick click that connects it to your Google account, or your Facebook account, which is the same thing, where you would click on it and then it sends you to your Facebook directory, and it would just use the same profile picture there and the same information there. And lastly, for SSO, that has to do so more with like a job, or like, let's say you are an instructor in an educational setting. It's usually like the last portion of your email. So for instance, here at Berkeley, our SSO domain is berkeley.edu, because all students, emails, and faculty end with berkeley.edu. And then moving forward, once you enter your credentials and sign in, you will click on the user image, which is going to be the first thing you know. Like once you log in, you don't have to like click on anything on the left side to necessarily access to the first page. So once you log in, you should be seeing this. So in Oski Bear's scenario, he doesn't have a profile picture. So in his case, he would click the person icon right here in gray. And then you would want to click choose files on your application to navigate your desired image and adjust the image that you would like. Or you can also drag and drop the files here or choose a file. So Oski chooses his favorite profile picture of himself, which we have here, and the individual will be able to you crop it as much as you want. So let's say you want a more white space on the sides, you'd be able to navigate that with the little crosshairs there as well. And then you would click on save on the lower right hand corner. So with this activity, you'll be able to set up your own picture or profile picture for the Zoom application. So moving forward, we'll be focusing on how to start a new meeting on the Zoom application. So as I previously mentioned, with any of these steps, the first step is to open up the Zoom account or icon, which brings us to the home screen of Zoom right here. So the first thing you want to do is click on the meeting icon, which you see right there in orange. And after you click it, it will automatically begin a new meeting. So this would typically be an instant or spontaneous meeting that you can have with your friends or access code. However, if you want to start a new meeting, you can also personalize your meeting ID, which in a way is like a phone number to you, and it's just specific for you. So you could think about this personal meeting ID as something that's specific to your own account, which can be in other terms, you could think about it as a password, a phone number, or a social security, because all those things are specific to you. But personally, it randomizes it for you. So usually you have that already readily available to you, but you also have the ability to change it up. So what you want to do next, once you access the personal meeting ID, is to copy the ID or invitation so you're able to send it to other individuals. But as a side note, in order to host an instant meeting, you would have to send out your personal meeting ID for other participants to type in, allowing them to join right away. We see that there's these numbers at the bottom, 23772452281. That is the specific personal meeting ID to yourself. So in Oski's case, if he would want to send this to his friend at UCLA or someone attending Berkeley, he would give them those specific numbers. And then the following slide, we'll be covering to join a meeting. So let's say you are the friend that is trying to join Oski's meeting. You would click on join. And then those exact numbers that we previously mentioned are the ones that you would be writing out right there. So you would input the meeting ID followed by the password code if requested. And the meeting ID and passcode will typically be sent out by the host either through email, text, or website. And in a lot of cases, you don't need a passcode. In my experience, I've only used a passcode for meetings that are more on closed doors and aren't open to the public. And I think it's just another safety concern. And if you don't want individuals to randomly be joining your room, I would recommend putting a passcode. But once you put in this passcode, you would put join. In addition to this, we have right in front of you how it would look in an email. So here we have the option to open up the meeting through a direct link, which was a hyperlink right here in blue that states the invitation to join the room for the Zoom meeting. So in front of you folks, you have, you can know Oski Bear inviting Magali Venegas to the scheduled Zoom meeting. And we could see right there below the hyperlink that there's also the meeting ID and the passcode. So let's say for instance, you receive the Zoom meeting on your laptop, but you want to join it through your phone. You still have the meeting ID that you're able to input on your phone. So you're able to join on your phone. So once you have the meeting ID and password, you're able to join the Zoom room through any device that you want to, whether it being like your iPad, your computer, your phone, or also a notebook as well. And then once you, in this scenario, if you'd wish to join the room, do the hyperlink. Clicking on the link will automatically open your Zoom app and admit you into the room or the host waiting room as well.
We're going to just cover how you can join a meeting as a host. So there's like mainly two options. So the first option includes opening the meetings tab and clicking start next to like the scheduled meeting that you like to begin, and then you just click start, and then you would join the meeting that you previously scheduled. If we can go to the next slide, you can also just click on that direct Zoom link that you sent out to your guests, and that link will automatically take you to your meeting. You know that you can find that link on the Google Calendar or on the email that you sent out to your guests beforehand. And this is also really easy as well. If we go to the next slide, I think it's going to show you how you can schedule a meeting. So I think scheduling a meeting is really convenient. It's saved to your calendar and you can share it in advance with your guests. So you can schedule a meeting for a future date by opening the Zoom app, and then it's going to give you the 4 kind of icons: new meeting, join. At the bottom left, you see a little calendar icon. You can click schedule meeting. And the first thing that I'll ask you is for a name. So you can select the name of the meeting. Just keep in mind that everyone that's going to join the meeting is going to see that name. So you would just select the name and you press save. And the next step would be to kind of just select your date and time. So you can see the calendar icon, you select the day, and then you select the beginning time and the end time by clicking the little drop down arrows. And I think it's more important to like mainly just focus on like the beginning time. If you want to start at 3, and then the end time doesn't really matter. Like if you say 3 to 4 and your meeting ends up going a little bit after, an hour later, an hour after, it doesn't really matter. Like the meeting won't end, but the most important one is just the starting time, because that'll tell your guests like what time to join the meeting. And if we go to the next slide, it kind of asks you again about the meeting ID. So when you're scheduling a meeting, you can have it, generate a random ID, or you can use your personal like phone number that Julio was talking about. So it depends what kind of meeting you're scheduling. Most of the time, people select like a generate automatically a random meeting ID if it's just like a random meeting, and that ID will be like deleted after the meeting. But if you're doing something like, say you're having coffee chats or allowing people to book an appointment with you or something like that, you can use your personal meeting ID. That way people all have like the same link and stuff to join. So it depends on preference, but most of the time what I see people do is they just generate automatically a meeting ID. The next slide shows, kind of talks about a password. So you can enable or disable a password by clicking the box for security. And then if you enable it, you can, it should give you like a numerical password that's random, but you can always click on it, edit the password. Depending, yeah, I've seen most people don't really have a password most of the time. For classes, like our professors do use a password just to like protect their content, but it's optional. Sometimes it makes it harder for some people to join to find the password, so that's optional. So you can always turn it off if you don't need it. And then you can also enable a waiting room, like we did here today, which just sends people to like another like a room before you're able to join the meeting. And then as a host, you can admit them in when you're ready or wait or stuff like that. So those are the 2 main things that you can, those are like the 2 main security preferences. And then the next slide just asks you if you want to enable your video as the host on or off, and then as participants on and off. So that's just like automatically when you join. If you turn it on for participants, their videos will be on, and then as a host, your video will be on. Or if you turn it off, they'll join and their video will be off, and they can turn it on during the meeting. And then the second part of that is just like the audio. So turning off computer and telephone audio, just make sure that, if you select the third one, just telephone and computer audio, it just means that you'll be able to hear your participants join from a laptop or a computer. So most of the times, the video is on, participants is on, and then the audio is telephone and computer audio. So you don't really have to mess with that much. If we can go to the next slide. You can also like connect that meeting to your calendar. So you can select your Google Calendar and it'll add it automatically during your selected time. And then you can go back to that calendar invite and then send it to your guests. So that's really convenient. And that's what we use for the classes. It's just like back to back, and we just go to the calendar and select the time. And then we're able to join the meeting really fast. And then here's some more advanced options that you can select for a particular meeting. You can allow participants to join anytime. You can mute participants upon entry. And then you can also automatically record. Most of the time, like professors use this setting, but it's mostly off. And the other first two are on. So these are settings you don't really have to mess with, but they're definitely there if you want to customize the meeting. And then another cool thing too is you can add hosts before the meeting even starts by adding their email. And then when they join, they'll automatically be a host and they'll be able to control certain features. And we're going to cover that in the later sessions of what you're able to do as a host. But here's some more detailed preferences, advanced options. Most of the time, like when we schedule meetings, I don't really go through this and like edit it, but these are definitely options if you need it. But yeah, there's some really advanced things that you can do as a scheduling a meeting as a host. And then after you go through all the preferences, if you want to customize anything, the last thing to do is just go all the way down, bottom right, you can select save, and then it'll save your scheduled meeting with everything that you selected, and it'll add it to your calendar, and then it'll add it to your Zoom kind of box as well. So you can have it for future reference.
So this is our table of contents for today. We're going to be going over part 1, which is meeting features.
And you'll learn how to screen share, how to record, and how to change your background.
Okay, so let's get started. This is basically just a brief overview of who joins Zoom calls. So there's 3 different ways that you can participate in a Zoom call. The one that you guys are all doing now is a participant. There's hosts, and there's also co-hosts. So each way comes with different meeting feature options. For participants and co-hosts, there can be more than one person, but with hosts, there's only one host per meeting.
And next, we'll move on to participant features. The first one being audio. So as you join a Zoom meeting, you will have this pop-up window that basically asks if you want to join with computer audio or if you want to test your speaker and microphone. Join with your computer audio can be like any device, whether it's you're joining through tablet, joining through your phone, joining through desktop. It's basically just to enable your microphone through whatever device you're using so that you're able to talk and people can hear you. So it's basically like just turning your microphone on. So you're always going to want to click join audio. So when you join the call on a computer, so a desktop or a laptop or a mobile device, which would be a smartphone or tablet with Wi-Fi, you would be using your device's audio for the call. So there's also going to be a little button in the bottom of the corner. It's also your mute button, but when you first join, it's going to say join audio again, just to make sure that you're enabling everything so that people can hear you. There's also a dial-in option, so you would be able to join the call on a computer or mobile device for the video and slides only. And if you want to do it through a call, then you would do it for phone and audio, through phone for audio. Down at the bottom, you should all be able to see at your screens that there's a mute and unmute button and also a start video button. Since you guys all have your cameras on, then at the bottom it should say stop video for you, but it's still the same button. So whether you click it on or off, it'll just change accordingly. When the microphone is off, the icon will have a red diagonal line across it, as you can see in the picture here. and you would just click on an unmute to speak. So you don't have to do anything like, special or crazy. You literally just click on the button and the diagonal line will stop, and you'll see that if you're talking, your mic will start to fluctuate with a green color, which means you're speaking and people are listening.
Okay, so the next feature we're going to go over is how to enable the camera. So everyone's video is enabled right now, but just to review on how to do it, on the lower left-hand side of the meeting toolbar, right next to the mute or unmute button, you should see the start video icon. And in order to start it, you can click it and the red diagonal line will no longer be there. When the camera is off, the icon will have a diagonal line across it.
The next feature that is also in the same row as the stop video and the mute and unmute function is the rest of your toolbar. So there are many different little icons that you should be able to see as a participant, and we'll be going through them right now. So the first one is reactions. It's the one that has a little happy face with the plus sign. And when you click on reactions, it'll take you to where it says number 2. And you'll be able to see a raise hand function, a green check mark, which is, it's like if the meeting host asks a question and you don't want to speak, but you want to give your answer, you would just click on that green check mark and it'll say yes in your Zoom, in your little bubble, in your icon square, so that the host can see that you voted yes. The X is the opposite. So if you want to vote no for something, then it'll, project the little no with the red X somewhere on your screen so that the host can see it. And then at the top, there's a bunch of emojis within that second box there. So you can see, like, just like you would on a phone, emojis that Zoom offers so that you can react quickly. Those 3 dots, like, those are just the main emojis that most people use as reactions. But if you click on those 3 white dots next to the last emoji, then more will pop up and you can use whatever emoji you want. Again, those are just general functions to keep the window small. And those will come and go like automatically. So you can react with emojis. Unlike the raised hands function, the emojis only last on your screen for a few seconds and then they'll go away. So you don't have to like unclick them. If you raise your hand though, you have to both raise it and unraise it to take it down. But those are just small things. Additionally, in the main room, you can also use the chat function. So there's a little chat box that looks like a text message. The messages will be shared with all the people in the meeting. So if you type something in the chat and send it, everyone else that's in the meeting will be able to see it, unless you use private chat, which sends the messages directly to one participant, and you'll be able to pick who that participant is if you just want to send them a quick message like that you don't want everyone else in the chat to see. So there's not an actual like send button on the chat window, but there is on your laptop, you should have a return function or a return key. And if you just press that return button or like enter, then it'll automatically send it. So that's more on your keyboard on whichever device you choose to use. If you're calling it on a mobile device and you want to use the chat function, I think there is a particular button that you can use that'll just say send, and then you send the message and it goes through.
And then more specifically on the private messaging, when you press the chat button, you should see how it says to everyone. And in order to do the private message, you select everyone, and then you can choose anyone else that's in the meeting. And then it goes the same. You press the enter, the return button. So now we're going to move on to renaming yourself. You can like remove your last name, do whatever you need to do. Usually for us, during different programs and stuff we attend, they'll ask for like maybe like the degree program you're in, the year you graduated, stuff like that. So you can always add that to your name. So to change your name during a Zoom meeting, one, you open the participants panel listed right here where the red number 1 is, and you click it in the bottom toolbar. When you hover your mouse over the microphone and camera icons to the right of your name, then there will be a more button. And like with the direct messages, you just touch it and more options will come up. And then you press rename and you can change it to whatever.
Yeah, so next we're going to move on to changing viewing options. So in the viewing options, what you're going to do is you're going to click the view button in the top right corner of your screen. So you should be able to see, it says view, and it has little boxes, and it will either look like a grid or a big box and a little box, or a big box and a bunch of little boxes. As you can see in the red box with the arrow, that's how it looks on everyone's screen. And you can choose to, either have speaker view or gallery view. So for example, like I have mine on speaker view right now so that as we're recording, only Jada and I show up since we're the ones speaking. But gallery view, it means that you're not only like paying attention to the screen or the main speaker, but everyone else in the call. So you can see everyone's faces and it's kind of more interactive that way.
Okay, next is joining a breakout room. So this is another really cool feature. So there's different ways that this is a host function, but the participants are able to join the breakout rooms. So the host will give you two options. The first one being an automatically sent message to you to join a breakout room. This is how it will look. It'll say the host is inviting you to join breakout room. And then you press join breakout room and you'll be sent to the room and it'll be with a different group of people within the Zoom call, like you'll get split up into groups. Or if they allow this function on your toolbar, there'll be another button that says breakout rooms, and there you'll be able to choose the room of your choice. So right here on the screen, it shows room 1 or room 2, and there's just a small join button. And another feature about this is that when you are in the breakout room, you can also use the chat and the messages will only be shared with the people in your breakout room while you're in the breakout rooms. So let's say we're in a breakout room and it's just me, Jules, and Peter. Our messages will just be between us three and no one else will get them.
Yeah, and so the next part is returning to the main room. So again, like these little pop-up windows will pop. So it's not like through chat or anything, like there will literally be a little window on your screen that pops up just like it did when you joined the breakout room. There will also be one to return to the main session, which is basically a meeting like this where everyone's all in the same, area. So the host may call you back, and if they do, then a timer will start, usually for 1 minute, and it'll be a countdown. And then as soon as that, you can either leave the breakout room early and go back to the main session by clicking on that return to the main session button, or you can just wait for the timer to run out if you're finishing up your conversation with your breakout room, and it'll just automatically send you back. So either way, you can also return to the main room before the message even pops up. So if you wrap up early and there's still time, whatever designated time you were given to be in your breakout room with those other people, let's just say you finish early and you're ready to head back, you would just press leave room and it'll take you right back to the main session.
Next, we're going to be talking about leaving a meeting. This one's pretty simple as well. If you need to leave a meeting, you just click the button below. The call will continue even after you leave because you're not the host. It's just the red leave meeting button.
So in the future, if you ever begin your own call, you would be considered the host. That is why today we're going to go through the different features you would have access to if you were to begin your own Zoom meeting. Okay, so let's begin with host features. As a host, you are able to begin a Zoom meeting. And the way that you begin a Zoom meeting is by first opening up your Zoom app on any device, your phone, your computer. And after you open up your device, you will be able to see these 4 different icons: home, chat, meetings, and contacts. You want to go ahead and click on the icon titled meetings. When you click that icon, it'll take you to a screen that looks like this. It'll have a lot of different pieces of information, but the key button that you want to look for is the word start. When you go ahead and click that button and you click the word start, it'll allow you to begin the Zoom meeting in order to be taken to a screen that looks like this. So when you click the word start, you will be able to see that you have started a meeting. You will see a picture of yourself where you will see your video if your camera is on. And you will notice that you will be the only person in that call. In order to allow other people to join your call, you will have to admit them from the waiting room. And the way that you admit someone from a waiting room is by noticing that at the top of your screen, there will be a message saying that there are people waiting to be admitted. All you have to do is click the blue button that's titled admit. And by clicking that button, you will be able to allow everyone that's waiting to join your call. So after you click admit, everybody will be on your Zoom call and you will no longer be the only one on your meeting. Those are the 4 steps that we need to take in order to start a meeting as a host. As you can see here, the button of admit that's exactly what we will click on the last step. All right, so the next feature that you have access to as a host is being able to record a Zoom meeting. So if you ever want to be able to reference the presentation that you did or a workshop that you host, you're able to record the Zoom meeting. So in order to record a meeting, what you want to do is look at the bottom of your Zoom screen. You will see a toolbar with a lot of different buttons and icons. If you want to record, you want to look for the icon that looks like a circle and it's titled Record. As you can see here on the screen, there's an example of that icon titled Record. So by clicking that button, you will automatically be directed to back to your Zoom screen, and you will see this red button blinking. When you see this red button, it'll indicate that you are recording your screen. If you don't see that icon of the red button blinking, then it means that your Zoom is not being recorded. So to confirm that you are 100% recording, just be sure you see that red button on your Zoom screen, and that'll indicate that you are recording your Zoom. And then right after you have verified that you are recording your screen, you can go ahead and continue your presentation. And after you have completed your presentation and you want to stop your recording, you can go ahead and click on the icon here with a square. So simply by clicking on that icon as highlighted through this blue arrow, you can go ahead and click it and it'll stop your recording. If you have the limiting feature of Zoom, it'll be downloaded onto your computer. But if you have an account through an association like CAA, it will be saved to your cloud. After we end the recording, you will receive a message stating that your recorded file will be converted into a video after you end the meeting. So if you click the button stop, but you are still on Zoom, you will not be able to access your video yet. You will have to wait until you click end meeting. So as soon as you end your meeting, you will see this message here under step number 5 that says, I am converting your meeting recording. So until that step is completed, you will then be able to access your recorded file, which if it's saved to your computer, you will automatically see a pop-up that includes your video file. We don't cover it in these slides exactly how to send it, but essentially what you would do is you can just attach your video onto an email. So just dragging the video into an email message will allow you to share it with others. So sending the video through email would be one option. So when you download it onto your computer, it should be on your desktop. So right after you end your Zoom call, you will see a file titled Zoom recording or just Zoom, and it'll be on your desktop.
I see.
So yeah, that's exactly where you can find your recording if you download it onto your computer. So we can go ahead and move forward onto our next feature as a host, which is the ability to start breakout rooms. So right now, we're all in the main Zoom room. And if you want your participants to meet in smaller groups, you can create breakout rooms, which will direct them to a different page on Zoom, which is titled a breakout room. Essentially, we're just moving people into separate spaces so that they can have individual conversations. And we'll go ahead and go through the different steps in order to do that. So the first thing that you want to go ahead and do is go to the toolbar on Zoom, which is that long list of icons at the bottom of your Zoom screen. And you will see an option titled More. So have these 3 dots as indicated here on the screen. And after you click that More button, you will be directed to a set of options. And you want to look for the option titled Breakout Room as highlighted here on blue. When you find this option, you want to go ahead and click it. And when you click on that button titled Assign Room, you will be directed to an image that looks something like this. It'll have room 1, room 2, and it'll have this option of Assign. When you click on that button titled Assign, it'll allow you to see all of the participants in your main Zoom room, and you will have the option to assign people into breakout rooms. So as you can see here on the bottom image, the person titled Oski Bear is assigned to room number 1. So when you click on their name, it'll allow you to assign a person into a breakout room. So a blue check mark indicates that a participant is assigned to a breakout room. So that is one way to confirm that the person is indeed going to be joining a room when you open them. On my side, I have the more option because I'm one of the hosts. So once you're the host, you will have that option. So once you have gone through and assigned participants into the room that you would like to assign them to, you need to go ahead and open all of the breakout rooms. So you will be able to see an option titled Open All Rooms. It'll be highlighted in blue. And by clicking on that button, all of the participants will be invited to join the breakout room that you assigned them to. So all the participants will click join on their individual screens. You don't have to do anything. Just by clicking on Open All Rooms, you will start to notice that everybody will start disappearing from your main Zoom room because they are in their individual breakout room. And at the end, you will be by yourself in the main room because everybody else will be in their individual breakout room. So let's say you told them that you'll bring them back in 10 minutes. In order to call everyone back into the main room, you have to close the breakout room. So as you can see here, there's this red button titled Close All Rooms. So when you click on that button, everybody in the breakout rooms will receive a message saying that you are calling them back into the main room, and they will be automatically brought back to the main Zoom room. So that is the way that you can release everyone into breakout rooms and call them back. Next feature that we have is ending or leaving a meeting. When you want to end or leave a meeting, there are 2 different ways that you can go ahead and do this. If you want to end a meeting for everybody, so if you want everybody to be logged off the call, you would need to click this red button as indicated here at the top. This means that nobody will be able to stay on the call. Everybody will be logged off. However, if you just want to leave the meeting, but you want everybody else on the call to still be able to communicate on the Zoom room that you created, you would just click on Leave Meeting instead. So that means you would be leaving, but everybody else will remain in your room and they will be able to continue the conversation on Zoom. If you are the host and you leave the meeting or you are cut off because of Wi-Fi issues, somebody else in the room will be made the host automatically. So you don't need to assign anyone to be the host. Zoom will just automatically assign a random person in your Zoom room. But once you join the meeting again, you will be the host again automatically. So Zoom automatically manages this. So earlier we covered all of the different features that you would have access to if you were the host. This next section of the presentation focuses on the features that you would have access to as a co-host. So a co-host is a second person who has similar ability to a host. However, a co-host has more limited features. So they're not able to do everything that a host can do, but they can do some of the things a host can do. And on this next slide, we highlight a few of the features that a co-host can access similar to the host. So we talked about how a host can create breakout rooms. A co-host also has the ability to do that. So a co-host would go through the exact same steps that we covered earlier in order to create breakout rooms. earlier, we also talked about how a host can close breakout rooms in order to call everyone back into the main Zoom room. As a co-host, you are also able to do that. You are able to close breakout rooms and call everyone back into the main room. The last two features that you can access as a co-host is the ability to record a meeting. So if you're a co-host and you would like to record the meeting, you do have the ability to do that, and you will follow the exact same steps that we talked about earlier. And lastly, if you are a co-host and you would like to admit people in the waiting room, you're also able to do that. You can go ahead and admit people in the waiting room similarly to the way that we talked about earlier. So you will receive a message and click on the word admit, and you will be allowing people into your Zoom meeting. So these are the 4 different features that a co-host can access, similar to the features of a host.
Awesome. Okay, so congratulations, you just made it through the first part. Now we're going to learn a little bit of advanced features. Let's go ahead and jump into it. So the first feature that we're going to learn about is how to screen share. So very important in regards to sharing your screen. You're only able to share your screen if you have permission from the host or co-host if you are a participant. So if you're a participant, you have to ask your host or your co-host for permission to share your screen. Once they give you permission, you're able to click the share screen icon and share your screen. However, if you're a host or a co-host, then you don't need permission from anyone. You can just go ahead and click that green icon and it should work just fine. So you should be able to locate the share screen icon at the bottom of the toolbar on your Zoom screen. And you would just simply click that share screen button. And after you've clicked that button, the next screen that will appear will be the window that you see right now. And so it will display all the windows and desktops that you have open currently, and you will select the one that you would like to share. In this case, I would like to share my Google Chrome, and it's the landing page of the Berkeley website. After I've selected that screen that I want to share, it should be highlighted in blue. I will then click share right at the bottom right corner there, and we'll magnify it so you know what we mean. So you will then click the share button, and after you've clicked the share button, you will be able to see the screen that you clicked to share. So now everyone, including yourself, will be able to see the screen that you would like to share. Once you're finished sharing and you've gone through whatever you needed to share on that screen, you can click on the red stop share icon that you see all the way at the top in bold red. After you've clicked that stop share icon, it will automatically stop sharing screen and you will return to your normal Zoom screen where you'll get to see all the participants and yourself. You can also share videos as well. So for instance, if you want to show a YouTube video, then you can have that YouTube open on the web page, and you can go down to the share sound. So all the way at the corner right there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you have to make sure that when you're sharing a video that share sound is selected so that the individuals in the Zoom room are also able to hear the sound of the video. Optimized for video clip is just to make sure that once you're playing the video clip on your screen when you're sharing, that there's no lagging. Alrighty, so now we're going to talk about how to change your background. And before we do that, I do want to mention that there are system requirements that you need, whether you're on a Mac OS, so like an Apple laptop, or using any type of Windows that will help enable the virtual background feature. So what you're going to start with is you're going to locate the video icon at the bottom of your toolbar. Right now, it should either say start video or stop video. but you're gonna focus on that upwards arrow that's pointing up, that's to the right of the video icon. And so what you're gonna do is you're gonna go ahead and click on that icon, and you're going to select choose virtual background. And so once you've selected choose virtual background, what's going to appear is going to be that window that's being presented on the screen right now. And if you have your camera on, you're going to be able to see yourself in that window where you see Oski the bear. And you're going to have the option of a multitude of virtual backgrounds if you have access to them. And so from there, you're going to select the virtual background that you would like. I'm going to go ahead and select a random one right now. Right now, I appear very weird. You could see like sort of the Bay Area, right? So that's how you would select the background. You are also able to add any type of custom background that you would like. So maybe you're celebrating Zoom with your grandchildren, or you're celebrating Zoom with your sister, or celebrating your birthday or whatever. So you can download an image from Google that's like birthday themed, or maybe you're going to attend a Halloween party through Zoom and you can download like a spooky background, and you're able to upload it onto your virtual backgrounds by using that add button that's being pictured here. And that will allow you to add your custom photo. If you don't want that same background to show in the next time you have a Zoom meeting, just make sure that you go through the same steps and then you just click the none. So you could just take it off.
So the next advanced feature that we will be covering is going to be how to make someone a host. So today we covered features that are within the reach of a host and a co-host. So if you want to make someone, if you would like to assign someone as a host or co-host, this is what we will be teaching you right now. So the first step to assigning someone as a host or a co-host is to click on the participants icon at the bottom of your toolbar. So once you click on that participants icon, you will be able to see the list of all the participants in the Zoom call. Right now, in the screen that I'm showing, it's only Oski the bear, and they're the host, and then another Zoom participant who is the guest. So you will see the list of participants. Afterwards, what you will need to do is you will need to hover over the participant and click on the More button. So once you have clicked on that More button, you will be able to select from these options. And if we click again, and you're going to be able to select Make Host or Make Co-host. Depending on whether you want someone to be a host or a co-host, you would just make that selection. So you would click either choice. And after you make that selection, the next thing that will appear is going to be this confirmation message of, are you sure that you want to make this participant a co-host or a host? So you will just confirm by clicking the blue buttons. So make co-host or change host. And once you've clicked those blue buttons, depending on what choice you choose, another confirmation message will be displayed at the upper corner of your screen, which will say the Zoom participant's name and will announce to everyone in the room that they are now the host or co-host.